Hello, friends, and welcome back to Truth Talks. I'm Coach Sandra, and this series is all about helping women of faith rise in leadership, walk in truth, and live out their God given calling. Today, I'm so excited to introduce to you a special guest, Gabriella Grant. We met at a Billy Cox Next Level conference in Texas. Gabriella has over 20 years of experience in finance, marketing, and strategic advising. She is founder and CEO of Vive in Mexico, Invest in Mexico, assisting international investors with premium land and residential and commercial developments in Mexico. She has an impressive resume, but I was immediately drawn to her because of her heart for women. She's a visionary entrepreneur, speaker, and mentor, and she's also the founder of the Phoenix Club, a women's empowerment community that supports resilient women in rising from ashes to queens. So, Gabriella, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation today.
Thank you very much for inviting me and thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'd love to begin with your personal story. Can you share a little bit about what led you to the work you're doing today with women?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, I am from Lima, Peru, and for the longest time, I grew up seeing my mother how she wanted to have her own home or her own investment. As a Latino community, Latina person, usually back then, I don't know how it's now, but back then, people used to stay at home raising kids and leave everything for the husband to do. But I learned seeing my mom how she have all the wants, and I saw so much potential in her because she used to work in finance before and she dropped everything at once just to raise her kids. So I
Hmm.
learned right there that I wanted to make a difference. So growing up, that was deeply implanted in me. And what happened next, I started traveling to Mexico. So I was at that moment, I had a racing career in the finance and leadership industry for a major bank here in the United States. So I was having fun and I was while trying to race. And I said trying because it's not the same working full time and having four kids at home.
Hmm.
And I started traveling a lot and I immediately fell in love with Mexico. I love the beach, the food, the people, but most importantly, I saw how it was a great opportunity of investment, how I saw my money is stretched so much. So immediately I thought, okay, so I already have my little nest, here in the United States, and I am ready to start investing in like my next stage in my life. And that's how I ended up investing. Now, it wasn't that easy at first because as a foreigner, it's difficult to find financing. So one of the things that I focused for a couple of years or the next couple of years after I made that decision was basically to find the right place where to invest. And I did find it. So when I found it, it gave me everything that I needed. And besides myself investing, I decided that it was a good opportunity to help others to do the same. Because through this investment, I potentially can leave a legacy for my children, not only my children, my grandkids, and change my entire generation.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, you clearly bring a lot of wisdom from business. How do you see women applying those same lessons in their personal growth and leadership?
Well, definitely it takes a while. It's not just easy, right? Because I think that many times, and it wasn't easy for me to come to this realization, because when you are raising a family, your major focus are your children, your husband, but at the same time, or many times, we forget who we are and our desires of helping others and growing as a professional. So once I realized all of this, I then just make the decision that this was something that I wanted to do. And talking with my friends, I realized that I wasn't the only one that was feeling like that. Because
Mm,
most of us, we give everything for our kids grow, they move out. And what about me? Where am I? Who am I? And then, God have a funny way to work, and he manifested himself in my life. And I realized that this is my calling to help others to, you know, as women, to learn different skills and always face center. Because, believe it or not, this is funny because many times I have prepared different speeches, when I am having interview, and I am standing up talking to people. And the funny thing that when I am getting prepared, I many times leave the portion of how God influenced in my life, because I
mhm,
wanted, you know, just to talk about other things, but God always come out, because that's the way God intended to be.
mhm,
Obviously, before I talk to anybody, whether, a one-on-one or even with a client, I pray for God to lead my words, to make sure I am understanding the needs of the person and understand that this is the way the person should go or not. Because also, people have different struggles, different stages in their lives, and probably this might not be the right stage of their lives. And that's the part of the things that we do. But as I say, God has a funny way to connect people, and that's how I met you too.
yeah, yeah. And you've shared before how your faith has shaped your life and leadership. How did your faith and your conversion, too, as a believer of Christ Jesus, transform your perspective on life and success?
It changed everything. To be honest, before, I was not able to have, I won't say empathy, but I wasn't understanding why people was acting certain ways, because I was too corporate, too square, or it was a different perspective. I just, I studied marketing, and then I went straight to leadership and financing. So I was very corporate. My mindset, it was business, business, business. But I have a son that is autistic. When I was in the top of my career in this major bank here in the United States, my son Gabriel started having seizures. He started
Mhm,
having 13 to 20 seizures every single day. So can you imagine me trying to, manage a team of 18, 20 people, and all of a sudden my son having these problems? So my life absolutely changed. And to be honest, at the beginning, I stray away from God, because
mhm,
I was saying, why do you do this? And I was very mad and angry, because, you know, that was my reaction at that particular moment. But then, we this started when my son was 7 years. Now he's 22. 4 years ago, I'm lying. 5 years ago, we moved from Orlando to Texas. And when we moved here, we started attending to the children's hospital here. So after that, we went to Southwest, another hospital, and my son ended up having several studies. And one of the studies indicated that he's supposed to be able to have a brain surgery, the second one, so he was able to stop those seizures. So after this
mhm,
study ended, I learned that there was nothing to be done for my son.
mhm,
At that moment, I recall seeing Oprah talking about a film that she wanted to do. I think that is Purple something, and that she wanted to participate, and how she literally started calling the director almost every single day. Did I get the role? Did I get the role? And it wasn't until she said, you know what? This is not up to me. This is about God. He knows what he's doing in my life and how he's manifesting himself in me. So I saw it and I saw that she kneeled down and prayed and surrendered to God. So I was, and that was all. Maybe it was like even 3 minutes that I watched about it, but that I kept it in the back of my mind. So
Mhm.
anyway, my son was in the hospital. The doctor comes and the doctor tells me there's nothing that can be done for your son. We cannot have a second brain surgery because at that moment my son already had one, and you cannot operate different sizes of the brain, sides of the brain. It has to be the same. So they proved through this study that his misfire for the seizures were coming from different sides of the brain. So
Mhm.
at that moment, I broke down, I started crying, and rather for me to go back to myself being angry, I remember that thought about Oprah and that she surrendered to God. And you know what I did? I kneeled down at that moment and I said, maybe I have been doing something wrong all my life. Rather for me to rely on men, rather for me to rely on medicine, rather for me to rely on other things, I should have relied on you, God. So I
Mhm.
kneeled down and I surrender myself to Jesus and I told him, I surrender myself. I give you my life. I give you my children. I give you my Gabriel. And I'm sorry, and I told him, if you are here, please let me know. Give me a sign, Lord. So that was on a Thursday, and my son is, we started being in the hospital on Monday. So all these days, kid, 20 minutes later, even 20 minutes later, someone knocked at the door. I was bowling, I was right. You can imagine. Someone knocks at the door and they told me that they came to pray for my son and my family.
Mhm.
So all what I did is I hugged this person and I said, you are the angel that God has sent to confirm that he has been here with me all this time. So my life changed. Ever since then, my life absolutely changed and I see things totally different. And everything what I do, I try, because obviously we're sinners, right? And we are humans. I try to always keep that God in my mind, in my heart, and it changed everything the way I live in, because before I used to live in fear and emptiness, because I knew that when my son was going to leave to school, I used to run to get ready because I knew that they were going to call me from the hospital or from the school because he was having seizures. So
Mhm.
it was my life for the longest time. But after all of this, after I met him and we walk in faith, me and my family, we walk in faith, my life changed. Absolutely. It's like this dark cloud just lifted and I
Mhm.
see things totally different, different perspective. I try to walk with this, purpose, with service, with stewardship, and try to impact other women's life, because I can relate. I can imagine other women, and many of my friends says, "How can you do that?" I cannot do it. I can't. Only God is the one that
Mhm.
gave me strength, and that's part of my story and my testimony at the same time.
Mhm. Mhm. And in what ways do you see business, not just as a career, but as a calling or ministry?
Exactly. I see business now as a ministry, because I see that there are a lot of families that are struggling right now. Just to give you an example, kids grow, they leave the house or they grow. We think that they probably don't need us, but they need us even more sometimes, financial support or just be there. So, through my own experience, I learned that when my kids grow, they need a lot of financial support, inspire them, living by their own. And
Mhm.
that's when also I made a decision that also I have to think about my future and my husband's future. And that's when I even started investing even more, because I needed also to secure us. And I don't think that is wrong thinking putting us first, because the kids are growing. We still being there. If they need a home, my home is their home wherever I go.
Mhm.
But also I have to do that. And that also made me think, that opened the door to another realization: how many other families like mine. For the longest time also, I used to have my money in the bank. You know how much the bank pays you for having 10,000, 15, $20,000 in there. So, and also I met a lot of people that has a lot of cash in their homes, and they are afraid to put their money in the bank. So we see a little bit of everything. So for me, it is very important to help people to understand and educate it a little bit about investments, a little bit, and put myself in their shoes, and try to help them transforming their stories, and give them that strength and help them to create abundance, and financial wealth through investments in Mexico, because it works for me, and because it is proven that every time you buy in key cities, because it's also not buying in any city, you need to know where you are going to buy. The return of investment per year can be between 8 to 15% annually. So for me, it is a win-win.
Mhm. I know you are also passionate about a special project that you're working on called the Phoenix Club. Can you tell us what it is, why you're starting it, how it helps women who've, been through those struggles and are ready to rise and be stronger?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. So through everything what I have been learning, and as I said, God just give us everything in abundance, and because through prayers too, He gives you everything what you need. I had a deep desire in my heart, or I should say, God put in my heart to help other women that are struggling the same. So, see, when Gabriel started having these seizures, I have to leave my career. Okay. So ever since I left my career, my relationship with my friends at that moment, everything ended, because many people see you, no, because you are the person, Gabriela. What can you bring to the world? Is what you do, what you are doing. So my life completely changed. I felt alone. I was alone. I only had my husband, thank you, God, my mom, my family. But my friends, I didn't have friends anymore, because now I was a different Gabriela. I was in a different stage of my life where I have to focus in helping my son, and while trying to keep my family together, because guess what? It's difficult when you have a child that is sick, or when is any illness in the family. Is difficult to continue the bonding with your husband and the rest of the kids. It is
Mhm.
very difficult. So, and especially because I was making a decent amount of money. So now we were limping financially. Now I have to fully, my husband was fully supporting the household. So it was a lot of changes,
Mhm.
and I realized that while I was dealing with all of this, I also wanted to do something else. And I needed to help financially. So I helped my husband with different jobs around, and also I was attending to school at the same time, getting different things that I wanted to do. And so I never stopped learning. I never stopped 100% working, but it wasn't the same, because when we talk about corporate world, you cannot say, hey, I will be back and all the people waiting for you. So I couldn't continue doing that. So long story short, after all of this, I learned that there was other people like me, and because I went back to personally become what I wanted to do and be all this time, I wanted to regain, how you say, now that I did all of this for my son, I felt ready to step up again into
Mhm.
my dreams, into my aspirations. But guess what? I was not the same. Now
Mhm.
I was a totally different person. I had obviously God deeply in my heart. He is the ruler still, but I want, I needed to regain that confidence, that trust again. And it was hard for me to do it alone. So I had to get my coaches in place. I have to have my books in place. I have to prepare mentally and spiritually to be that person that God called me to be that person that, and to step into the career, into my dream, into my vision, and especially to be able to help others. So because all of this, and not to mention that I felt old. I say, "Are you crazy? How are you going to do it? You are too old. No, you cannot do it." I was um I was struggling with the thought even to look at the camera because I see all my wrinkles and all, and those are mental spider webs or cobwebs, that we have because nobody cares. Everybody cares about the message and how you can help them, and who resonates with you. Not everybody will resonate. And that's how I learned that I wasn't alone. There was a lot of people just like me, people that
Mhm.
has been caregivers, that they had once a career and they were fully caregivers and now they are ready again. So what can I do for them? So
Mhm.
I am launching, I'm still working on this. I'm launching the Phoenix Club, that VIP, that is going to be a um, a platform, where all the women can be together. Sorry, there's some words that I just cannot pronounce well. All the women can be together. We are going to have, everything is going to be faith center. Is going to be a mentorship. We can encourage each other, and there are other things. That will be one part. The other thing is how we can regain tracks, regain who we are, personal branding, social media. So we're going to have a little bit of everything. I'm preparing a little bit of everything because we all need different skills, and
Mhm.
some people will need to, some encouragement. Other ones
Mhm.
will need to learn a little bit about social media. Others need to learn about branding. So because I was there, I'm able to say, I can help you, because I got help with the right mentors, the right people. I surrounded myself with a lot of people that has by far more knowledge than me. So I'm ready to help others. And
Mm.
that's part of my mission in life.
That's so powerful. How can the listeners be part of this Phoenix Club from the very beginning?
Look, as I said, I am launching this and I would be honored to have your listeners in my Phoenix Club. My phone number is 214, and I have to even see because I exchanged, is 214-856-2483, and I will give it to you. So with this, you can put that information in there. Also, I have my website, viveinmexico.com. I will have a website, but I'm changing and launching everything so it can be the process, everything can be running more smooth per se. So I'm going to have my website is going to be phoenixclub.vip. So what is going to happen once it's ready, I will share with you that information, and also people can visit our website. And if this resonate with you, I will be honored and I will be delighted to have you with us. So for now, it will be my phone number via text. And also if you visit my viveinmexico.com, there is a part that says contact me and my phone number is there. So another thing that we want to do with the Phoenix Club, there is some people that don't have a sense of direction. They don't know what to do, but they know they are made for something else. So we have also an opportunity for financial empowerment. So we have opportunities for everybody, and I really see this brand going global because that's my mission, and I want to make sure I surround myself with the right people.
Mhm. Many of the women watching today are in leadership roles, or maybe they feel God tugging at their hearts to step into leadership. So, from your experience, what encouragement would you give them today?
Wow, that is very powerful. You see, for the longest time, I delayed my dream of the Phoenix Club because I had in my heart something silly, thinking that everything has to be perfect. But there's nobody perfect.
Mm-hmm.
God, Jesus, they are Jesus is the only perfect. So I learned that it's okay to do not be okay and to do not be perfect, just who you are. So for me, my best advice will be don't wait until everything is perfect or feel perfect. Just do it one step at a time. Step into your vision, invest wisely, and trust that God has a plan for you and me and everybody. And also, I want to say that success is not about money. Yes, money is nice. Believe me, I prefer to be depressed in Tulum or Cancun than rather to be depressed in my home. Let's be honest, right? But success is not about money. It's about legacy. It's about faith. It's about the lives that you touch in your way here.
Yeah. You speak a lot about legacy. What does leaving a legacy mean to you, and how do you hope to inspire women to think about their own legacy?
For me, legacy is when I'm going to have a ripple effect in my generations. You know,
Mm,
when I see that my children or the children of my children, my grandkids, they have a place where they know that life can be different. In this world of AI and social media and everybody just being on the phone, I pray God that I can have some effect, in my generations where they are going to be secure financially, and not only that, that they know that we owe everything to God, that
mm,
without God there's nothing, we're nobody. If he wasn't in my life, probably I will be committed into a hospital right now,
mm.
because he's the only one that can really change lives. So that's
Yeah.
that's my hope and my dream, that happen, that my kids, my friends, everybody know about God and know that they can rely on him. We have different perspective, and I accept everybody. I open my heart to everybody. I try to do not judge mentally, right? We're human.
Hmm.
One more time, we are. So but God knows what he does. That's the reason why we're talking. There's a reason why I met the other person the other day that, you know, have different beliefs. So we can do one thing at a time. And if I can contribute with one little seed, I'm okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Gabriella, this has been so rich. Thank you for sharing your story, your faith, and your passion for empowering women. If you could leave the audience with one message about faith, success, and transformation, what would it be?
Yeah, thank you. Is just do not wait until you have everything together or you figure it out together. Just do it one day at a time, one step at a time. And surround yourself with people mind like people that wants to see you successful, have coaches, mentors, because without our coaches and our mentors, we cannot do many things. You need someone to guide you. You need a different perspective in life. You need someone to see things outside in.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Thank you again, Gabriella, for joining us today for this conversation. And ladies, if you've been encouraged today, I invite you to connect with Gabriella and learn more about the Phoenix Club. Remember that you are chosen, loved, and equipped by God to live boldly in His truth. Until next time, I'm Coach Sandra, and this has been Truth Talks. Keep walking in truth and stepping into the purpose God has for you. Strength and honor are your clothing, and you shall rejoice in the time to come.
Thank you.